Electric car owners, EV owners, are finding out that batteries in these cars are affected by really cold temperatures. Something you don't think of most of the rest of the year because it doesn't get that cold. But guess what? When it does, your car is not happy, your EV. And the worst part of this was when you find a charging station, and you have to find, they're not everywhere, right? But when you find one, what happened was EV owners would get there and discover there's already 10 cars in front of them wanting to do the exact same thing. Their cars would die in the parking lot where the chargers were. And it's been a lovely time to be a tow truck operator in those parts of the world. But as I said, we're going to have this happen here at some point during the winter. You probably should be prepared. So we thought we'd try to provide a little bit of help. Bill Klehm is chairman and CEO of eBliss Global. They're an e-mobility company. First of all, thanks for being with us, Mr. Klehm. And let's deal with this problem. It is going to be an issue in freezing cold weather in the winter if you drive an EV. So what should you know?
So first of all, thanks very much. And Bill's fine. So appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Listen, as a EV owner myself, and I'm in Austin, Texas, and yesterday in Austin, Texas, it was 15 degrees Fahrenheit, which is very cold for Austin, Texas. And I can tell you, even my EV at 15 degrees, you can definitely watch the range be limited. Oh. So there's a few things EV owners should know. One, it is the time to make sure that the car, so let me just reverse just for a second. As you think about new technology coming out into the marketplace, one of the things that happens with new technology is there's new things for people to experience. Range anxiety and charge anxiety, I have it, and I've been in the auto industry for 35 years, so I get it, so I do understand it. But in cold and hot extreme temperatures, it is even more pronounced when these things come about. So one of the things people should do is, first and foremost, keep their car in the garage if they can, because the garage will give you, on the Fahrenheit scale, 10 to 15 degrees improved, which will be materially helpful for the vehicle. Second thing, it is not the time to let the vehicle go all the way down and charge, and it is the time to top up the vehicle and keep it close to being at a full charge. Because one, batteries just do not like to be charged when they're what's called cold soaked. So when the whole vehicle gets completely down to a sub-zero range, those batteries do not like to be charged, and the charge rate actually slows because the manufacturers know. So again, in these kinds of extreme temperatures, first and foremost, keep the car as warm as possible. Secondly, don't let the car drop to sub 40, 50% on charge rate. So keep that vehicle much more charged as you would normally keep it. And then, quite honestly, you just got to pay attention. Manufacturers have very specific instructions. Now is the time for the owner to read those manuals and get what the manufacturer recommends in these cold conditions. There's a lot of online resources for them. And by the way, this problem happens, right? I remember being in Winnipeg as a kid, and it was very, very cold, and we had to plug in our gas cars because the oil would freeze. Right. So similar things, I think, are prudent today. Keep the car warm. Don't let it go undercharge. And then, quite honestly, read the manufacturer's recommendations.
To your first point about keep it in the garage, I'm sure a lot of people were, I would if I could.
I had a garage.
There are too many. There are plenty of people out here who obviously have to leave their cars out overnight when it gets really cold. If you're one of them, how does this change things? What do you do then when you first start your car? I know with a gas-powered car, you can pre-warm your car, right? You can start it and get into a warm car. You can't do that. I know you can remotely start a Tesla, for example. Does that help?
Yeah, well, absolutely. So that will definitely help. Again, if you really want to be detailed, if it's going to be that cold, I probably would go out and maybe even start it a couple times and keep the thing so it doesn't cold soak, because that's really when the vehicle becomes a problem. Again, similar to my explanation on Winnipeg, when those cars get completely cold and you're a diesel truck, you can't start those cars. You got to wait till that block heater comes in and warms them up. So again, there is no easy answer to these things. This is a brand new technology in energy storage. I would tell you the manufacturers to some degree are still learning. Lots of testing goes into these things to try and anticipate what customers' experiences are going to be. But honestly, it's brand new, right? It's a whole new system, and they're still learning. As I said, if you can't keep it inside, completely understand that. I would do the best you can at reminding yourself to go out and give it a quick start, let it warm up, and then go back inside. That will help.
I know we're talking about the batteries here, but I find myself wondering if better chargers could be developed, or if that would make any difference.
Oh, yeah, you're going to get me started on that, aren't you?
Uh-oh.
So, yeah,
Sorry, Bill.
So the as you look at charging infrastructure across North America, and I'm going to equate Canada and the U.S. to being about the same position, charging infrastructure, quite frankly, is very limited around what consumers truly need. It is a very big problem because the chargers that are out there, even when there's enough of them, the example that was made at the opening comments, these people are standing in line to be able to get these things charged. And, it takes a long time. It takes even longer in the cold. So the charging infrastructure across North America is not adequate. There's 50 new electric models coming out over the next 12 months from various manufacturers, and that's before the onslaught of the Chinese vehicles. Electric starts in 2025. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to provide consumers with the ability to effectively own and operate these vehicles.
Okay. I will ask you before we run out of time. We've covered what to do, of course, overnight. And I told you, I saw those videos of cars trying to get a charge, just being towed one after another, dying, waiting to get a charge. But that's infrastructure. I get that. Let's say you're actually out there driving in this weather and you have a bit of a commute. You're traveling 30, 40, 50 miles, whatever. While you're driving, is there something you can do to extend that battery?
Like an airport mode kind of thing that you do, airplane mode that you do for your phone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. So the things that drain your battery the fastest are air conditioning and heating, and those are creature comforts that we all enjoy. Right. So there's on your dashboard, and in all of these cars, there's a little application you can pull up that shows you what accessories are actually draining the battery on the car, and you can flip those off. Oh. So you can do that. Again, it may get a little chilly inside the car if you turn the heater. Heater's a big one. Air conditioning's a big one. Those are big loads on the battery that are incremental. But the other thing I would say is if you're having to drive those distances, plan ahead, find a place to stop, top up your vehicle. Don't be afraid to do preventive charging rather than waiting until you're in that environment. And I have been there where you pull up to that charging station. You know what? It was 105 degrees Fahrenheit here. I've been driving for several hours, went to a charging station, and they were filled, and I was panicked, quite frankly. So I would just make sure that your listeners understand, keep that darn thing above 50% charged.
There's some good tips for you when we get. It's not a matter of if, it's when we get to see that kind of weather here in Montreal. Bill, we thank you so much. Appreciate the time today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. You guys have a great day.
You too. Bill Klehm. The company is called eBliss Global, and I thought some good tips in there.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I tell that story and it's a few years ago, driving to work one day where we are right now, and we saw a guy in a red Tesla, and we were in a traffic jam, and I was kind of, hey, you have a Tesla. It was kind of new at the time. And we were talking about it. It was the middle of winter, and he said he 3 times or 4 times driving from St. Bruno, that his car had just basically died and he needed to have it towed because his battery had drained. Now, I know it's probably better now.
Better and better.
But still, there's the stories.
It's the stress. What did Bill refer to it to as anxiety? Battery, he said charging anxiety or something. There was a term he actually
And that's what it is. It's not like there's chargers on every corner. We're not even close to that yet. So just keep that in mind. Don't wait for it to get all the way down.